Well, good morning guys. It is a beautiful day out here today. Yesterday though, it wasn't so nice. It was rainy and windy, and instead of going fishing, I got in the water and did a bit of diving, and I had a really great dive. I got 6 crayfish, a couple of them were really nice size, so hold tight and enjoy this footage. How are we going, people? Hope you're all doing well. It's a rainy day here in Auckland, so I'm putting together this video from a dive a few months ago back in early winter. The conditions that day were less than ideal. There was a moderate sized swell rolling through, around 1 metre, and it was pretty windy and rainy as well. I originally was planning on getting out for a fish, but luckily I had my dive gear with me and jumped in the water to prospect some new territory. Let's go. So the aim for this little mission was to find myself some new cray spots, and yeah, I got pretty lucky, to be honest. The first spot I pulled up at and anchored the kayak at, I jumped in the water and it looked pretty tasty. Lots of boulders, lots of weed, lots of cracks and crevices, so I knew I was in the right sort of territory. And yeah, first rock I checked under, I found that little guy. Nice wee crayfish, and yeah, first one in the bag for the day. All of the crayfish that I found in this dive were in a very close proximity to one another. They were all sort of within probably a 50-metre radius, so they were obviously all huddled up for the winter and yeah, keeping warm in this shallow water. I was probably diving less than 8 metres, probably on average about 5 metres when I was getting this cray, so you don't really need to go deep to find crayfish. As usual, the way I keep my crayfish with me when I'm out diving is I made these 2 little nooses out of some mono and crimps, and I find it really handy because I just have a couple of those on my float, and whenever I get crays, yeah, I just hook them up to this noose, and then I can carry 2 around with me, and by the time I get my 3rd one, then I'll swim back to the kayak and drop them all off. At this time of year, crayfish are starting to molt, which means they're shedding their shells. You can't really see it, but I found this molt here on this dive, and it's actually a complete crayfish shell. So I've brought that home with me, and I'm currently super gluing it back together, and I'm going to clear coat it and mount it on some Cody wood, which will be really nice to have up at the back. Once it's all finished up, I'll probably take some nice photos of it and post it up on my Instagram, so if you want to check out the finished product, go and give me a follow on there and you'll be able to see all the photos. I've got one molt that I did last year, which I have some photos of up there as well, which you could check out if you like. But anyway, I'm moving on now, and I found another perfect little crack and crevice with a few crayfish hiding inside. So as usual, take a nice slow approach into this one, figure out where it's sitting and how I can best grab it, and yeah, then slowly work my way in before pouncing. After a bit of wiggling around, out came another beautiful koura. This is a red koura, or red crayfish, and yeah, nice female one, easy legal, and that one went on the noose. For those of you who aren't divers yourself and don't target crayfish, you might be wondering why every time I grab a crayfish I'm squeezing its shell. That's because if crayfish have a soft shell, you actually have to put them back. So as you'll see with this one, after I pull it out, I gave it a bit of a squeeze, felt that its shell was soft, which meant I had to release it, so that one went back, and over the course of, I don't know, maybe 6 months, its shell hardened up, and at that stage then they become legal to take. But while they're in soft shell, you've got to put them back so that they have a chance to grow. I came across a few soft shell crays on this dive, but there are only a few of them, and the rest of them were nice and firm shelled, and this was another beautiful sized crayfish which came home with me. quite convenient having the 2 cray nooses on my float, because it means I can take 3 crays at a time. And if you don't know, the Northland limit of crayfish is 6, and in Auckland to Cape Runaway, so Bay of Plenty area, you can only take 3. So it's quite convenient to be able to take 3 at a time, so I can either take my Auckland to Bay of Plenty limit, or I can take 2 trips of 3 and get my 6 limit for Northland and other parts of New Zealand. So yeah, that's why I've got my float and noose set up as such. That was another soft shell cray that went straight back, but then I stumbled upon this really deep hole underneath some boulders, and I eyed up a really good sized cray in there, and I did not think I was going to be able to grab this one because it had perfect escape bricks all around it, but I gave it a crack anyway, and yeah, this is what happened. The video doesn't really do this one justice, but it's a really good sized cray. I was really stoked with this. I think it was the best one for the day, so I was really happy to get this one on the noose and bring it home with me. So another soft shell cray went back, but I was determined with 5 crayfish in the bag to get one more so I could get my limit of 6. What I do is I bring them home, take the tails off, and if I don't cook them straight away or give them away, chuck them in the freezer, and that usually keeps me going for a few weeks. So back down I went and on the hunt for the 6th and final crayfish, and yeah, didn't take too long and found the last one for the day. After a good wee scrap with that cray, I had my limit for the day, so went back to the kayak, offloaded the crayfish and started to make my way home. And yeah, what a great day that was. I find it super rewarding and quite relaxing to target crayfish, so I love being out there, as I'm sure some of you will be able to relate. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got for today's video, guys. Hope you've enjoyed it, and I'll see you on the next video. Cheers!